Hello, party people. How you getting on today? I hate snowflakes. The ones that fall from the sky and the other kind. But anyway, yeah, some asshole forgot to turn on the kettle again. That's why I'm a couple of minutes late. One of these days I'm going to have to beat my staff. I swear to God. Anyway, let's start where we normally start, with SicSemperCommentsSection, because, dear God, have I got a couple of good ones today. Thus always to dickheads. From Islam Invasion. We criticize Islam. You came to Germany, so you have to tolerate it, if you like it or not. We are allowed to criticize religion. If you don't like it, leave Germany. Nobody needs you here. This Jake Gyllenhaal-looking fellow is quite unhappy about the entire thing from the looks of it. Let's watch the video here. It's only 30 seconds.
Du beleidigst meinen Islam und du sagst mir, bleibe ruhig.
Das ist dein Problem. Wenn du dich beleidigt fühlst, das ist dein Problem. Wir benutzen keine Schimpfwörter, wir beleidigen nicht, wir kritisieren den Islam. Und du, wenn du nach Deutschland gekommen bist, dann hast du das auszuhalten. Und du hast es zu akzeptieren, ob es dir gefällt oder nicht. Verlass das Land, wenn es dir nicht gefällt. Wir dürfen Religionen kritisieren. Ganz einfach. Wenn es dir nicht gefällt, verlass Deutschland. Keiner braucht dich hier.
Sad. Yeah. Tell them the truth. Right? If you don't like it here because of the way here is, and you liked it better where you were because of the way there is, maybe you should go back there. You're not necessary. Yeah. Let's see. To criticize a person for their race is manifestly irrational and ridiculous, but to criticize their religion is a right. That is a freedom. The freedom to criticize ideas, any ideas, even if they are sincerely held beliefs, is one of the fundamental freedoms of society. A law which attempts to say you can criticize and ridicule ideas as long as they are not religious ideas is a very peculiar law indeed. It all points to the promotion of the idea that there should be a right not to be offended. But in my view, the right to offend is far more important than any right not to be offended. The right to ridicule is far more important to society than any right not to be ridiculed, because one, in my view, represents openness and the other represents oppression. Rowan Atkinson. Somehow we have come to the point where the clowns make more sense than the experts. Yeah. And Rowan Atkinson is continuously one of the most based comedians out there. For those of you who aren't familiar with his stand-up routine, you should look into the Devil Toby bit. I'm not 100% sure what he calls it, but it's quite good. Exactly. Support the country you live in, or live in the country you support. Ugh. I bit a Muslim. I had to lick my ass for an hour to get rid of the taste. Oh, it's not nice. There's 57 Muslim countries where you won't be offended. Yes, and for some reason, a lot of them refuse to take a lot of Muslim refugees. Isn't that peculiar? The government does not own us. We still have rights. For now. Let's see, what's this? Historically, the two largest destroyers of life have been Islam and communism. The Democrats have embraced two of the deadliest ideologies in history. Yes. Chances of me ever believing that Islam is a religion of peace. The red says none. The yellow is also none, but in yellow. Yeah, Islam is not a religion of peace. It's a religion of power. I don't care about calling it satanic. If you want to know who rules over you, just look for who you're not allowed to criticize. Voltaire, yeah. If a religious text that calls for the death of atheists and blasphemers isn't hate speech, then neither is condemning it and calling it evil. Ricky Gervais. Again, how is it that the clowns are the more sensible folk than the so-called experts? Experts. Wait, is that a clip from... Okay, we're going to watch that again, and we're going to watch for the woman here. Just watching her face. Oh, she's shocked. What was it he said that shocked her? I'll pause it when I see her put her hand up. Oh, Okay, I think we're about here.
Ein Problem. Wir benutzen keine Schimpfwörter, wir beleidigen nicht, wir kritisieren den Islam. Und du, wenn du nach Deutschland gekommen bist, dann hast du das auszuhalten. Und du hast es zu akzeptieren.
Yeah, he's basically telling them, you have to accept that we have our rights. And this woman, clearly liberal, is losing her mind. Sic Semper Mentalis. Okay, so into the memory hole. Yeah. It's not always them. Or I'm not saying it's always them, but they're always involved. Or it seems to be a lot of them. There we go. I'm not saying it's always them, but it seems to be a lot of them. Okay, from Alden Bunag, you're fucking acting like we want to show kids porn or something. But something I've learned through the years is that whenever right-wingers accuse others of something, it's definitely because they're projecting. Are you sure about that, Skippy?
Teacher has been arrested for sharing child pornography.
Arrested for sharing child porn.
Alden Bunag sent illicit pictures and video.
Over 3,300 messages that Bunag claimed to have sex with the boy at the school during lunch breaks. He recorded his sexual encounters with a 13-year-old boy who was a former student and sent the videos to others through a messenger app.
Whew, the GOP continues. This is from Alden himself. The GOP continues to prove how fucking evil and disgusting they are. Son, you're projecting harder than a fucking drive-in theater at this point. Greg Abbott has officially directed Family and Protective Services to begin investigating all trans children in Texas and prosecuting their parents as child abusers. Based. He has also instructed all teachers, doctors, and caregivers to begin reporting any trans students they see. Replace conservatives or, quote, the right with terrorists, and the context of all of your actions and beliefs makes far more sense. It wasn't our side singing about how we were coming for your children. That's got a disturbing double entendre to it these days, doesn't it? I couldn't agree less, or more, Alden. You all do need to be rotting in prison. Anybody who does the shit you've done. Yeah. That is the correct response. Actually. Imprinting and attachment theory. Well, possibly. There's also apparently strong evidence for parasitic connection. He's a pedophile who should hang. Yes. Speaking of pedophiles who should hang, from Brandon Straka, I'll throw him a follow. The name is familiar for some reason. Outside a courtroom, Glenn Cromwell Jr. punched Yusuf Azami, a man charged with raping his 14-year-old daughter. The viral strike sparked a fierce debate over vigilante justice and legal due process. Yeah. So this is the father in question. I don't know if there's any sound to this. I do like how the security guard is completely unconcerned with the big black guy walking in a seriously aggressive manner towards the accused. Oh, now everybody wants to react. Yeah. Fucking deserved. Yeah. In my opinion, that pedo was lucky all he got was a punch. The injustice system protects perverts like this, and I know I am done with the circus. Yeah, we have judges who will allow, or let me rephrase, who will impose far too light a sentence on someone who attacks a child in any fashion, especially if they are facing deportation or immigration status upheaval if they were to be found guilty. From Jack Clancy, a communist system can be recognized by the fact that it spares the criminals and criminalizes the political opponent. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Yeah. I did recently try to start the Gulag Archipelago. No. I see enough of the dark side of humanity doing this. I don't need to read that. If you're going to get caught doing a crime of passion, be more like Gary. Why, Gary, why? Yeah. When legal due process fails, vigilante justice prevails. Yeah. There's a Hank Williams song, I think. 1 second. I've Got Rights. Yeah, Hank Williams Jr. Yeah, if you haven't heard the song I've Got Rights by Hank Williams Jr., yeah, that's absolutely my attitude if the justice system fails. PNCSW Max says, I'm done with fucking pussy judges who are more concerned with the criminal than the victim. Drop them from a helicopter, put them in a wood chipper. Drop them from a helicopter into a wood chipper. Yeah. That's also a great way to get rid of... Well, you combine your pedos and your commies that way. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Adam Smith. How is this even controversial? Make no peace with evil. Yeah. This is where you run into the issue, and I'll bring this image up while I'm talking. One of the issues I have as an atheist is that I see people who are themselves claiming to be atheists. Now, skeptic would probably be the more fitting term for my religious views. But you see other people who claim to be atheists who refuse to accept the possibility that evil exists. You look at someone doing something like Mr. Bunag did, or what this fellow is accused of having done. And I say accused only because he hasn't been found guilty yet. Yeah. But if you are capable of holding the idea that there is such a thing as a subjective morality, and that objective morality isn't real, you really need to give your head a shake. How's the expression go? Yeah, give your balls a tug and your head a shake. Yeah. In 1984, yeah, we covered Gary the other day when it was Gary Plauché Day. Yeah, even if it is 2-year-old news, this is the way. Yeah. Not quite the same, but you get the idea, yeah. Okay, so we're going to end here with Oh Dear God. This is good. So you're getting robbed, but you just put a new brush guard on your truck. Can you feel the blood rush? Now, clearly, this image, the upper part and the lower are not combined. You can see they don't match, so. Oh, what did it do? In which case, Chad. Okay, so that's SicSemperCommentsSection dealt with. Let's get into the comment section. Okay, moving over to here. Oh, I have to pause the video on the other screen. Okay, from Maxime Bernier. It's all these young kids with backpacks saying they want help and they're just raiding everything they can, and we can't handle that. Catherine Rivera, who represents the center, said in an interview with local news. Everyone's running out of food. Congratulations, that's the right decision. Ontario Food Bank turns away international students. Absolutely the right decision. If you come to this country as an international student, you are required to be able to take care of yourself without work, without food bank, without any of that shit. If you can't pay your bills before you show up here, go home. Or don't come. Not to quote Kamala Harris, but don't come. A food bank in Canada has decided it will be turning away international students, citing a distinct lack of resources and abuse of the system. I like how they parenthesized, or not parentheses. Oh my. Yeah, in any case, I like how they tried to make it seem like abuse was not actually the real factor. Yeah, meanwhile, we have, students, international students in Canada actually getting online and telling each other how to do it. I don't suppose that video happens to be in the... Oh, aren't you just a wonderful individual? Jesus Christ. Like, dude, it's less than one knuckle. They should be deported. No, they shouldn't be permitted to come in the first place. What is this? Oh, yeah. Didn't expect to be talking about the NDP convention again, but yeah, it seems there was an interesting occurrence at the NDP convention. Remember when Elon did this and the media and the left lost their minds? This is Rob Ashton at the NDP leadership convention, and if I recall correctly, this is the guy that was screaming about eating the damn rich. there you go, the power fist. Yeah. You should get up and wave to these people. So I would like to ask the MVP, at what point do you plan to condemn this fellow for being a Nazi? I mean, it doesn't get much more egregious than this. Like, it's literally the exact same gesture. You touch your heart and you throw that love out to the people. Dear gods. The left can do what they want. Everyone else is racist and fascist. Yeah, exactly. The double standard. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Oh my goodness, a fascist. This is the dog whistle middle finger the left uses to tell everyone their rules and outrage are made up and can be applied to anyone at any time. A struggle session is not necessarily because you actually did something wrong. It's because you think in an incorrect and unapproved manner. Yeah. Hong Kong Fooey says the only difference is this guy was probably actually doing the Heil Hitler salute. No. Okay. I need to point it out again because there is a degree of history education needed here. When you do this, that is not a Heil Hitler salute. It's a Roman salute. The Roman centurions, the Romans would do it. Hell, in the early, I think, 1900s-ish, before the rise of the Nazi Party, American school children would salute the flag this way. Yeah. You can find all that shit. It's documented. The left has double standards. Well, if it wasn't for doubles, they wouldn't have any. Ay, caramba. Adolf Himmler. Bering did a great piece. Bering and Sugar Tits together did a great piece on the NDP Leadership Conference. And they made her the head of the LGBTQSS. Yeah. Parish Farmer members. Yeah. He's got his authoritarian dictator cap on. Oh, dear. Well, not quite the same, but yeah. Never trust a man with a hat who raises his hand in that fashion. Let's see. Eat the rich, and they vote in the $23 million man as their leader. Yeah. That's another thing, too. Avi Lewis isn't exactly, a representative of the working class, to say the least. Then again, look at the lawyer they had chairing their friggin', whatchamacallit. Oh, goodness. Their conference. There we go. From Jim McMurtry. Oh, Didger is in. Oh, Kalergi, I didn't see you there. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Kalergi salutes. Don't do that one. No, that's fine. I don't care. Personally, I don't trust a man who doesn't. Fair enough. Didger, if the right didn't have morals, the left wouldn't know what to protest. Good morning. Yes, thank you. Good morning to you. From Jim McMurtry. It is insane to equate a caribou or a lake to a person. Yeah. Yukon First Nations declares caribou herd to be living ecological person. The Ross River Dene Council says the decision is meant to protect caribou from industrial development. By giving them human rights? Are you still planning to shoot them? Because now that would be murder, Dene. Yeah, Ross River. Southern Chiefs ask courts to give Lake Winnipeg charter rights to life, liberty, and security. Motherfucker, humans in this country don't have that shit anymore. Or have you not noticed what the government has been doing? Oh, wait, you're in government. Of course you noticed. Lawsuit launched against Manitoba Hydro provincial government over completely negligent treatment of lake. Okay, I don't know how it works in Manitoba, but here in Newfoundland, if we want to do a hydroelectric development, we've got to consult with you people. We shouldn't have to. You're wards of the fucking state. Yeah, you haven't decided to join the country entirely, so really, you don't get a say. Yeah, or shouldn't. And that's not to say that I think you're inferior, that's to say that I think your people are being kept down. By your people in some cases. Because, well, have you noticed how well the chiefs are living and the average folk aren't? Yeah. And I did point out the increasing absurdity of allowing a civilization so backward they hadn't even mastered basic agriculture before encountering Europeans to affect policy is both disturbing and alarming. And someone reposted that. Even more insane to believe First Nations are good stewards of the land. Again, I bring up the point about the chiefs living so much better than the rest of the people on the reservation. It's a known thing. I've had loads of native friends point that out to me. Yeah, no, the chief lives way better than the rest of us, and we don't know where they're getting the money. That's because they can't audit their books. The federal government doesn't require the band councils to audit their books. Yeah. From Alex Opinions 99. Mental illness. Basically, the left want these people as partners. Well, the left are quite happy to, partner up with people they think will do what they want and not have even the slightest bit of foresight that they might not. Yeah. Okay. From Juno News, Industry Minister Melanie Joly says, Didger says, I can see Man Hydro ruining everything, but using the a pig as a dog as a cat as a boy defense isn't the one you think it is, wahoo. I take it wahoo is what you call wabganoo. Yeah. Industry Minister Melanie Joly says Canada's global talent attraction strategy is generating enormous interest. Yeah, that's because they're all scammers and they know they can get away with that shit if they come here. Fuck off, Melanie. You twit. There is an amazing opportunity because we believe in research and science. No, you don't. You don't believe in science. Your predecessor's government actually removed weather data that disagreed with the climate change hoax model. Fuck off. Don't tell me you believe in science. You tried to subject the entire country to an unregulated, unprepared, untested vaccine. Fuck you. There is an amazing opportunity because we believe in research and science while other countries are turning their back on academic freedom. You do not want me to start examining academic freedom in this country. I'll bring in my friend Aiden Paladin. She'll tear that shit apart. I was thinking Chief Wahoo McDaniel, but that works too. Oh, fair enough. Dear God, tell me that's not his actual name, Wahoo. Oof. I get it might be a traditional native name, but for fuck's sakes, man, you don't name your kids shit like that in this era. Fuck off, we're full. Anybody else notice something weird about that particular silhouette of Canada? Where are you from, Arno? Excellent. It claims to be Canada. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So you found a picture you thought was okay. Kirkland signatures. Jesus Christ. If Kirkland started making nukes, we'd be doing really well. King Fox, a liberal flexing on, we believe in research and science, has to absolutely be the quote of the year so far. Yeah. Scold's bridle. Globalists destroying Canada with replacement migration. Yeah. Well, we never should have let them sign up that UN migration compact. And I don't think that was the Liberals. If I recall correctly, I think that was Harper signed us up to that shit. Dude, I did an ID for a native named Yellow Old Woman once, and frying pan is more common than you think. Oh, dear God. Awful. Kalergi says he just arrived in Canada yesterday. Can't even find it on a map. Well, are you sure he's in Canada? Because he doesn't seem to know what Canada is shaped like. We're shaped much more like a Dorito than we are like a, I don't know, what would you call that, a burrito? A badly rolled burrito? Yeah, who in their right mind would vote for this moron? Yeah. The minister never read the Stellantis Oh my fuck. Who cares if she's an anti-Semite? But the Liberals, whose Foreign Affairs Minister, Melanie Joly, placed an arms embargo against Israel. Yes, oh gods, yes. We're such evil anti-Semites in this country. We won't let fucking Israel. We won't help Israel carry out a genocide. And I'm sorry, genocide is not the fucking correct term. Massacre, slaughter of innocents, whatever. But under the Liberals, hate crimes against Jews have increased 71%. Sounds like a bunch of industrious hoaxers to me, but hate crimes against Jews have increased 71% since 2023. Synagogues and Jewish schools have been shot at. By who? Who's doing the shooting? And Jews are being harassed in neighborhoods where they live under the guise of protest. Uh-huh. I believe you. Really, I do. The office garden tool sounds a tad retarded. Yeah. Let's see. Didger, but yeah. They're going to throw that bag Jolie under the bus for this. Hilarious. Oh, they're not throwing her under the bus for this. No. See, that is something Carney is good at. He did learn from Trudeau's mistakes. He won't throw a woman under the bus. Not at all. From Retard Finder. Retard says, if you're not black and use the word ghetto or ratchet, it's a slur. First off, it's not ratchet, it's ratched. My nigger. yeah. That's no. And the word ghetto, that was originally applied to Jews, if I recall correctly. At least the first instance I know of that it was applied to anybody was Jews in Warsaw. The Warsaw ghettos. Yeah. Okay, Skippy, let's have a listen to you and see how fucked you are.
If you're not black and you're saying ghetto, that is a slur.
If you're not black and you're saying ghetto, it's a slur. Period. I have two legs. Would you like to try pulling the other one?
Period.
Yeah.
That is a slur.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna go one step further. Ratchet. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're non-black using either one of those words, it's gonna come off racist to me.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. You ratchet ghetto retard. Huh, yeah. It's exactly what I was thinking. That's peculiar. Yeah. I'm not racist, I'm lactose intolerant. Oh, fuck, that's good. Let's see. Blacks culturally appropriating everything, then crying about cornrows on Valley Girls. Yeah. You're speaking my language, dickhead. Go in Africa somewhere. It says right here we can say whatever the fuck we want. Yeah. Funny thing, says that on the inside of my palm, too. Would you like to see? Check it out, yo. We've been done with that sheet, aight? Reparations paid in blood. Yeah. Not just paid in blood, but until 2015, paid in actual British taxes. Okay, it took me a second. Ratchet ho. Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive. Yeah. How you decide who's black enough to say it? Yeah. Is a quarter black enough or no? I think it's the one drop rule, if you're at least a little bit black. Hey, the funny thing is, we all came out of Africa, so we're all at least a little bit black. I love using the left's logic against them. Is it a black word? Oh, it's actually older than that. AI, is this Google's AI, I think? The term ghetto originated from the Venetian Ghetto Nuovo, New Foundry, the name of an island in Venice's Cannaregio district, where Jews were forced to reside starting in 1516. I'm not saying it's always them, but it sure seems to be them a lot. The area previously housed iron foundries, with ghetto likely deriving from the Venetian verb gettare, to throw or to cast metal. Interesting. The fatigue, yeah. Yeah, let me stop you right there. You're black, yeah. That was funny. Say some more stupid shit. You stole that hairdo from my culture. You stole... Yeah. I have to say, I have never seen a white woman look good with these things, so bear that in mind, ladies. Skin color doesn't mean shit. You're either a good person or black. End of story. Jesus Christ, Kramer. Slur and clank. Excuse me. Yep. Oh, sorry, guys. Acts like one gets called one. Yeah. What the hell am I looking at here? I have no idea. Okay. Oh my, there are some good. Yep. Actually, it's a European word meant to denote the area Jews were restricted to living in. So, as usual, they're trying to steal someone else's stuff and say it was theirs all along. Let's see. Plenty of ghetto white people. Ghetto is a culture, beliefs, and behavior. It's more about behavior. Yeah. As a white. Gonna say X to doubt. Well, 1/1000th gets you called Pocahontas. Make your judgment. Faux Pocahontas. Yeah, as a white, no. Calling X to doubt on that one. Oh, I need to fix my window a little touch on this. It's an alt, I think. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Plenty of ghetto white people. Ghetto is a culture, beliefs, and behavior. Ghetto is not a slur. Some people are just snowflakes. Okay, go ahead and call them ghetto. You're so tough. I'm taking it back. If you haven't seen this scene from Clerks, I think it's Clerks 3, it's worth watching. Is it 3 or is it 2? It might be 2. Anyway, let's move on to further retardation. In New York, yeah, this one. This is hilarious, especially when I found this immediately, and I did, immediately after reporting on yesterday's show about J.J. Abrams moving Bad Robot from L.A. to New York City because he was concerned about, I assume, because taxes. Yeah, I immediately saw this while I was on my break between reporting and gaming, and saw this. From New York City, a public school teacher advocates making it illegal, for business owners to move out of New York City. He suggests the city should seize the businesses of wealth creators who try to leave the city. I will say it again. Communism cannot exist without fascism to facilitate it. And this is from the Nate Friedman Show via Amuse. Didger, LOL. The physiognomy is strong with this one. Yeah. I don't know what you mean. It's... I'm starting to see where they modeled the Groucho Marx glasses off of, though.
What do you say to this folks who say, well, if you tax millionaires, they're going to leave the city, and the top 1% pays 40% of the taxes in the city, so what happens if they leave? What's your response?
Well, that's what I would say. It's like we should take their business, and we run it like for our, like the city ourselves.
So
you want the government, or if you're the NDP, the public sector, to take over businesses. In fact, you want them to seize the assets of citizens. Yeah, but I'm sure if I called you a communist, you'd go, no, I'm not a communist. But Marx had some good ideas, right?
If they take their business to Florida, you feel like you can keep it here?
I mean, they can't leave the building. They can't, like, just bring...
They can't leave the building. I think what you meant to say is they have to leave the building or they can't take the building. I really hope you're not teaching English.
Their whole entire workforce to Florida. Right.
Hedge fund magnate is moving his $41 billion firm from New York to Florida. No, they can't just up stakes and fuck off. Socialism is great until he's just having a good laugh. Socialism is great until it runs out of other people's money. I wish I knew, but he was so right. Yeah.
They can't...
Socialism is great until it runs out of other people's money. I think... I'm not 100% sure, but that sounds really contemporary. Socialism is great until... Oops. Congressman Richard Hudson, possibly? Phrase widely circulated summary of a 1976 statement by former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who originally said socialist governments traditionally do make a financial mess. They always run out of other people's money. So it was probably a paraphrase of something Maggie had said. Yeah. There you go. You learn something new every day. Let's see. Kalergi says, societies where governments can just take your businesses and hand them over to randoms are traditionally very productive. Yeah, incentives to create and set up businesses going hard. Yeah. That'll be the next thing that New York City will have to do. They'll have to start offering, tax relief, incentives, things like that to encourage people to come back. if you're any kind of a savvy businessman, you'll look at that offer and go, fuck you, pal, I left for a reason. The Iron Lady for the win. Yeah, absolutely. Let's
bring all of like the resources that they have to like build the business here. Workforce to Florida, right? They can't bring all of like the resources that they have to like build the business here to Florida, right? That
you do realize the single biggest resource any business really needs is people. Always has been.
That's a whole thing, and that's where you would even say, like, if we're building a real movement, right, to like stop that, we'd also like make it illegal for them to like actually like leave, right?
So you're going to use the state to confine people? Where have I heard that before? Let's see. Her interview about the government doing everything for you was and is a prophetic declaration more people should know about. Yeah, and that's realizing that under Thatcher, Britain was run very much the same way as Canada was up until, well, still. It was still very, very socialized. But the thing Maggie had going for her, and really Chrétien, even up until into Chrétien, Paul Martin, Stephen Harper's eras, they all had one thing going for them. Relatively homogenous, high-trust societies with a strong sense of moral duty, civic moral duty. That's gone. So, yeah.
Right? We would fine them to hell if they're going to try to like abandon their property here, right?
So you're going to fine them for leaving, or force them not to leave. How? Are you planning to send armed men with guns? Yeah, New York is kind of crazy. Let's see. We're going to kidnap you and force you into slavery to sustain our standards of living. Tolerant people with empathy. No, the fucking left. It always does boil down to food and slaves. It's the only motivation these people have. Luxuries. They all think that in the communist utopia, they will be able to sit back and enjoy all the luxuries. No. What'll happen is your ass will get driven into a field and told work or die.
Because clearly people do need to work.
Because that guy is not suited for fucking much. I'm sure his hands are softer than a fucking pillow.
Right? People do need to like, make a living. So
hang on, what was that about making a living?
Leave, right? We would fine them to hell if they're going to try to like abandon their property here, right? Because clearly people do need to work, right? People do need to like.
Okay, so you're going not only to force the business to stay or fine it insanely if it tries to leave. You're doing that because you're then going to force them to employ people. I don't think you understand how a free society works at all, Skippy. I've never seen people so ignorant as the fucking urbanites. Let's see. Didger. I'm sure he's a fabulous singer. Someone like that needs to be castrated, so yeah, he'd probably be a very, very high-toned singer. Didger, you can't abandon your property. Also, if someone breaks into your basement, you can't throw them out. Also, property is theft. Also, it falls over from the spin, yeah. At Killergy. Fabulous at something. You fabulous. Oh my. Yeah. And the animated fucking GIFs still aren't, or the animated emojis still aren't working.
Make a living.
Might have something to do with
so
the fact
that's
I didn't
Charles
fuck with it
Berry, and while that might have been one of the craziest things I've ever heard in hundreds of street interviews, what matters more is that he's a teacher for New York Public.
Charles Berry. A web developer. No, son. He's not a web developer. That fucker is a vibe coder. Don't fucking try and lie to me.
Schools.
What do you say to this folks who say, well, if you tax million...
Jesus. Let's have a flick through the comments here. From Marcus Notrelius. It's pretty good. I like that. So there's now a thing called budget justice. What? This idiot learned that from the present Progressive Caucus voted in by the same clown. New York City has 51 city council members. The Progressive Caucus has 24 members. Excuse me. So that is close enough to statistically say half. Drunk on a yellow pad. Meet half of New York City government. Chi Asi. Budget Justice Warrior. This is all over American government. I don't know what that is. Yeah, New York City wealth creators around 2027. Yeah. You can vote your way into socialism. Can't vote your way out of it. They're not progressives, they're communists. And communists have to be fascists, or else they can't be communists. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. Yeah. Democrats sound hideous. Well, they're communists. Stalin, the individual is nothing, the collective is everything. It's easy to say that when you're the guy in charge. And, of course, people like Mr. Barry there, they always think they're going to be among the people in charge. They never think, well, we're going to need people to work the fields. Who are we going to have do that? And they never once stop to think, shit, that might be me. Maybe I'd rather make money off my, I'd rather prosper under my own effort rather than be forced to work for someone else's. From Zohran Mandani. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. Yeah, because you're all going to have to huddle together for warmth in the winter when all your fucking businesses leave. Let's see. He looks like a bohemian No. Yeah, so just like East Germany was. Yeah, it's going to be a communist utopia. Build a wall, yeah. Every business owner with the means to leave just heard this and put relocation to the top of the strategic directives with urgency. Government is now an external threat to their balance sheets, and as fiduciaries, they must act to counter external threats. Yeah, if you're a business owner in New York City, you have just been told that you have a fiduciary duty to your shareholders to get the fuck out of New York City post-haste. Didger, you know what I like about frigid individualists? They actually get things done, and you can have a beer with them. True, yeah. Now, there is a point where individualism becomes a handicap. For example, in the West, in the anti-white context that we live in, being a rugged individualist who refuses to join up with your own people, that's one of the things holding us back, because we're not holding our politicians to account. If we could organize ourselves, get ourselves back to the idea that we are a singular people and we should act as a bloc, then we could lobby government the same way that any other bloc does, whether it's natives, Muslims, you name it. We could all stand together and say, listen, you're going to do what we want or we're not voting for you. And what we want is those people gone. And that's the illegal immigrants at the very least. And we wonder why Marxism, socialism is taking root with our youth. It's getting seeded, fertilized, and watered by activist teachers. He's a substitute spanning elementary, middle, and high school. From the second quarter of 2025, 8,400 businesses. Whew! From the second quarter of last year, 8,400 businesses left New York, and only 3,500 opened. It's a net decline of 4,900, but good math. Sharpest decline since the pandemic, and it erased the 2022 startup gains. Oof. Christ. Progressives mistake community spirit with collectivism, and it's fatal. Yes, absolutely true. The commies are no longer hiding their agenda. They never really were. It was just they were careful not to let you know about it. Teaches your kids to be stupid. Why not make a business out of it? You already invest your most valuable possession with him. Why not your money, too? Yeah. My head almost exploded when you said he was a teacher. I really think you owe it to his students to send a copy of this interview to the students' parents. Zuggirl@gmail.com. I have news for you. More likely than not, some of the kids have already seen this. Yeah. Also, children, if you're watching this and you've seen that interview, feel free to call your teacher a commie fuck. Tell him Arden said it's okay. Remember, I don't encourage violence, but properly mocking your opponent is perfectly acceptable. I have 2 of these? Oh, okay, I have this. That's okay. 1 second. I have my repost that I wanted to put up instead. Okay, Didger, I know, but Ben Shapiro delivered a little talk about hollowing out an economy, and it sounded a lot like New York City, just saying. Yeah, there are a lot of them in New York, too, yeah. So, let's listen to what Tucker has to say, and then we'll look at my response to it, and then some comments.
What about Canada and Mexico? Canada has far more oil than the United States, far more fresh water than the United States. Canada is the fourth biggest oil reserves in the world. Our most critical ally on the globe is Canada, the country we ignore. Going forward, as American influence recedes to our hemisphere, what happens in Canada matters more than anything else. Maybe we should try to exert some influence on Canada, not necessarily by force, though by force if necessary. You could certainly make a regime change argument about Canada, talk about a country that's oppressing its own citizens.
Isn't it odd how the guy who everybody on the left hates so much, and quite a few on the right now as well, isn't it interesting how that guy, who everybody hates, is the one who's spitting facts? And Didger says, yeah, and a lot of them is leaving too. Yeah, that's true.
Killed almost 100,000 of them through its state-sponsored killing program, MAIDS. But if ever there was...
MAIDS? No. The federal government doesn't sponsor MAIDS, Tucker. It sponsors MAID. M-A-I-D. Excuse me. No, that was uncalled for. Sorry about that. But, yeah, the medical assistance in dying, not medical assistance in dying sucker. That does sound like it would make an interesting blaxploitation film. Medical assistance in dying, sucker.
The people that needed liberation from a government that hates them. It's the Canadians, of course. But you could make a case based on self-interest and regional interest,
yes,
even on decency, to have a lot more positive influence on the internal affairs. Canada's not a sovereign country. It never has been, ever. It's part of the British Commonwealth.
Hey, Tucker Carlson, we are the next big geopolitical problem that America is going to have to deal with in the next few years. Do not come to my defense, sir. Yeah.
It's never been sovereign, and there's no reason that it should be. It should be decent and well run for the benefit of its own citizens.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
What?
Oh, hang on. Okay, so here's what I said. Now, I had only watched the first part up until about where he was talking about our fourth largest oil reserves before I posted this. Tucker lists all the positives in the first part of this video. However, he neglects, I assume I haven't watched the entire video yet. I will do that when I review it for my show. That'd be now. The negatives. Canada is deeply subverted at a federal level by foreign influence. Our government is taking away our liberties bit by bit. They are planning to fast-track citizenship for foreign soldiers. Our soil is where the majority of fentanyl flowing into the northern part of the U.S. is coming from, and we have ceased to be a trustworthy partner in intelligence and economics. All those together suggest that the U.S. should be very, very wary of Canada's proximity, especially with what amounts to an essentially open border. I really liked this guy not so long ago. What a fucking disappointment. Well, you know, you can't like everybody all the time for everything, so... I do get a kick out of RT saying that Tucker is soft-launching Canada 51st state. Yeah. Gun Gnome. Yeah, if they ever did conquer Canada, they'd have a lot of work to do in order to restore it to normal before seeing any benefit. They'd basically be buying China's half-finished project car. I don't think you could ever have described Canada as normal, especially from the American point of view. Yeah. Now, we'll have a quick look at the comments on the RT tweet as well. And I'll take that down from there and pause that. Okay. I mean, you're not wrong, the Doberman 86. Mark Kearney is clearly the enemy of the Canadian people. As I consistently say, Canada should not be the 51st state right away. We should be another territory, and we should be allowed to internally determine our chosen associations. For example, Alberta and Saskatchewan would most likely combine. Portions of BC would probably join with Alberta. Significant chunks of BC would want to join Washington State. There's a case to be made that the Yukon, or at least the western Yukon, would probably rather be part of Alaska. So you're going to end up just the geologic or geographical divisions would be a good thing to be able to be changed. For instance, Nova Scotia and parts of New Brunswick, probably PEI would want to combine into one state. New Brunswick and parts of Quebec would want to join as one state. Ontario and Quebec, parts of those, one state again. So, yeah, you'd be better off making us a territory so we can't influence your voting process until those geographical changes are made, or at least allowed. And more importantly, you need to make at least 2 generations of Canadians live under U.S. rule before they have any say, because until they have the opportunity to see the benefits of being American, all they're going to do is vote liberal, and you don't want that in the American context. Let's see. Didger, my province would probably want to join Minnesota. Minnesomalia. Well, Wob Canoe might. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. Let's see. What have we got here? From Tish Conlon. Canadians are extremely brainwashed. I do love how they speak for all of us. It should be most Canadians, some Canadians, a lot of Canadians. At least modify the fucking term a little bit, because clearly we're not all brainwashed. Despite growing poverty, yeah, we're as a country, we're poorer than fucking Alabama. I still can't get over that. Marxist schools, blah, blah. No, this is not a bad thing if we get absorbed. Necessarily. Venezuela free, Iran free, Canada, not going to happen. They're going after Cuba first. Then they'll probably have a fight with Turkey. Not because Israel wants it or anything. That's after they leave NATO. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when they leave NATO and we still have an undefended border with them. Start here. Look, it's already under the 49th parallel. Afternoon outing for the U.S. military. The entire fucking country is an afternoon outing for the U.S. military. Somebody ran the numbers. I forget who. I think it might have been Habitual Line Crosser or someone else. Maybe Tactical Turtleneck. But someone actually did run the numbers. And they figured out that you could take the Minnesota National Guard, move them into Canada, and take the country in like a week. It wouldn't take all that much. Strait of Hormuz alternative? Yeah. Yeah. Or, just pipeline across the entire friggin' country. That one including Greenland. I like this. I haven't seen this before. Hey, look at that. Newfoundland's here. It's nice not to be forgotten. Let's see. Yep, no. Liberation from what exactly? How are Canadians oppressed? Let me guess. You live in Ontario, don't you, Jeremiah? Doesn't say. Let me go back. Let's see if we can find some context clues. It looks like the Rockies. You're probably a Calgary or Edmonton boy, aren't you? Cannabis? I never would have guessed you were a stoner. Yeah. Oh, and crypto. Yeah, okay. Oh, Jeremiah's Bitcoin. Yeah, let's jump right on that. Can't believe people like that have more followers than I do. Not by much. Let's have a look at the responses to Jeremiah. Seriously? Controlling water, air we breathe, energy supply, food supply. Over half our income is taxed. Forced CPP payment, forced EI, forced healthcare, even if we don't use them. Yeah, forced property tax, forced vax. Currency is worthless. List of taxes the average American pays. Yeah. Fees and taxes aren't the same. Rural Canadians don't pay a water and sewer tax. You don't think so? Depends on what you call rural there, son. Library card fee. Yeah, you do actually have to pay for your library card in this country, too. Were you not aware of that? You can always rent if you don't like paying property tax. You're one of the bug people. You're one of the live in the pod, own nothing, be happy, and eat the boogs. Fuck you, Jeremiah. We are a socialist country camouflaged as a democracy. I have to turn that light down. It's blinding me. We don't need liberation from the U.S. We need our own people to wake up and stop acting like sheep. Socialism oppresses you how? Okay, you're a fucking commie, Jeremiah. Go fuck yourself. Canadians have free healthcare? No, we don't. God, how the fuck do you figure a 40% tax rate is free healthcare? Where did you get that idea? I don't know why people think that Canada has free healthcare. I call it public healthcare. Parking lot fees, ambulance rides, and taxation is what makes the healthcare magic happen. A socialist idea, sure, but far from communism. Fuck's sakes, people. At least you're waking up and having the conversation. Now, please, for the love of God, talk to people off of X. Go and read economists like Tom Sowell. What's the other guy? Hoppe? Yeah, read some of these people. No? Let's see. Excuse me. Ditcher says I won't quibble over minutiae. Fair enough. If the last election was free and fair, it seems fully 2/3 of my fellow Canadians are retired socialists. Except not. It wasn't... 2/3 would have been fine if that was the entire country voting. But it wasn't. The turnout for the last federal election. What was voter turnout for the last Canadian federal election? I think voter turnout was only like 30-40%. I'm not buying this. 70% of people turned out? I don't think so. One second. What was the mail... Oops. Nope, that was right. In ballot proportion. Not mail-in, I should have said absentee. Okay. Only about 6% were mail-ins, or absentee ballots. They have it good, but like to be negative on X for political reasons. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. Let's see. Won't quibble over minutiae. It seems fully 2/3 of my fellow Canadians are retarded socialists. Well, I mean, there are definitely retarded socialists among us. People too stupid to realize they're being socialists. At a certain point, you get lumped in. Fair. A discussion as serious as this and has big contributions, library cards. Yeah. Thanks for coming back to the bong with you. Back to the crypto bong, Skippy. Is that an AI-generated Tucker Carlson? Yes, all Tucker Carlsons are now officially AI-generated. New France. Well, I mean, given how many Muslims are in France. Ottawa has been treating the rest of Canada as its colony for a long time. Here's a cartoon from 1915. The relationship has never been that of equals. The West creates the wealth. Ottawa, Toronto consumes it. Even the good old days weren't that good. Now it's worse. Well, yeah. Yeah, anyway. The last thing we need is America's idea of liberation. We've all seen what that looks like over the decades. Canuck chick. Yeah, liberal white woman. They're allowing 20-something-year-olds to euthanize themselves because of seasonal depression. Almost all these people are white. Yeah. Now, this is the Swiss suicide pod, so, yeah. Imagine waving at somebody from inside that thing. Tucker has simply been bought off, and now he talks like an AI-generated meme of himself. Stop clocks, then. Let's talk about... From Basil the Great, a new TV show promoting the idea of a curfew strictly for men between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. Of course, the comments section is full of women endorsing it. It should be noted the vast majority of night shifts in this country are done by men keeping it running. Yeah. Would you support a nightly curfew for men? Women are retarded. Please stop listening to them. The Cunning Linguist. Feminists are spiteful, delusional, narcissistic children who are happy to burn down society to feel superior. Society is heading towards all criminals all the time. Yeah. Nice. Subtly changing the goalpost where the point is male violence. Sweetheart, let me offer you this piece of potentiality here. You're a woman walking alone at night, and all the men have been told they have to stay home. Who's likely to be outside if they're male? Criminals. Who's likely to attack you? Criminals. Who's likely to defend you? The law-abiding men that you said had to stay home. Listen for the click. It was subtle this time. That looks like a Down syndrome person in there. In where? In this? I don't think so.
Now, should men be made to stay at home at night in order to keep women safe? That's the issue being debated in the House of Commons today.
The Women's Safety Act is a law that protects women.
Does this pit women's rights to safety against men's right to freedom?
It's discrimination against 50% of the population.
Well, that's it. In a hugely significant vote, Britain has become the first country in the world to introduce a curfew on all men.
Oh, they think all the men would vote for it. They think more than a tiny fraction of the men would vote for it. It's retarded. You'd have to be absolutely cucked. As a civilization. Not a society, not a nation. As an entire civilization to go for that. What the fuck is this? It's a police academy? A bit late to the party. This was from The Worm That Turned, broadcast during 1980. Ah, okay. Would it be a surprise to any of you if I showed you these pictures of the director? Not really. And creator, yeah. And yes, you can early life the shit out of the first one. Looks like you could probably early life the shit out of both of them. Stopping women from voting would keep them safer. Absolutely true. The suicide pod. Oh, okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, a little bit, iffy. Maybe just throw out the Islamist menu, dumb whores. Hang on. To be fair, they could just import Hindus to replace them. I mean, if oppression is... If male oppression is at a premium and your supply is no longer... Or your demand is outstripping your supply, you could always just import from the other subcontinent. Yeah, from the other browns. Well, they still don't understand that criminals don't give a shit about rules or the law. The only people who follow the rules are decent men. Good luck, retards. Yeah, and truly decent men follow the rules that deserve to be followed. I can't imagine why this was taken down. From Ryan Garrettson. Ottawa's OC Transpo just deleted this post. Drum roll, please. We are happy to introduce our newest group of bus operator graduates. They are fully trained and looking forward to driving our city forward. Congratulations. Yeah. Yep. It is exactly what you think it might be. Yep. Oh, okay. I do believe I responded to this, or reposted it probably, wherein I said something along the lines of, look at how much diversity is there. Yeah, they're almost all brown, almost all Sikh. Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Tiffany6997. At Zeko Anime. Hello, Tiffany. Is this a bot? It possibly might be. We'll see. I had to bounce one yesterday, so we'll find out. But if you're not, Tiffany, give us a hello. They couldn't get trucker jobs because all their cousins took them. They couldn't get trucker jobs because they couldn't fake the qualifications fast enough. So they had to actually take a bus driving course, we hope. It is statistically improbable that a demographic representing only 7% of the population accounts for all new hires for positions paying $70,000 to $100,000 a year. Yeah, are we sure this wasn't taken in India? Well, it was taken in, no, what was it? Somebody called Brampton something, and I can't remember what they called it. Bramp Delhi or something, I can't remember now. OC Transpose X account. 9 years worth of newly hired Trudeau imports. Diversity is our strength. Unless you're white, then there's no job for you. Maybe you can move to India and demand minority privileges over there. Yeah. Shared with a bus driving friend on fascist book. Yeah. That's right, Canada. We did that. No, it wasn't just them. Not a single white person. A statistical impossibility. Okay, see, now you're just not looking at the picture. That guy's white. That guy's probably white. That one might be white. Well, yeah. One woman out of all this, though. Yeah, I love the diversity. That would be Ottawa. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I know this is Ottawa. I'm talking about someone had called Brampton some name that portmanteaued some Indian city with it. I can't remember what it was. Okay, this is the last of the comments section, which is good because this is over an hour long now. Oh yeah, okay. We'll. This is the second last thing. I wanted to finish with some upbeat stuff. So.
Well, what happened?
We'll break that out again. Actually, sorry. So, Mike, you used to be so liberal. What happened? And the tagline is "Red Pilled by Bigfoot." This is pretty good comedy, and it's really good analogizing.
Past, they're like, Mike, you used to be so liberal. What happened? And the only way I can describe it is like, imagine you and your friend really like camping, and you go camping all the time. But then one day your friend starts telling you they're really worried about Bigfoot. They think Bigfoot's going to get them specifically. And then they don't stop camping, but they start telling people that they're really brave for camping and that they're camping in protest of Bigfoot. And then you kind of pull your friend aside and you're like, hey, I don't think you need to worry about Bigfoot as much as you're worried about Bigfoot. I don't think it's actually mentally healthy for you to worry about this much about Bigfoot.
This is where it turns into comedy gold.
But then they start saying, hey, that sounds like something a fucking Sasquatch would say. And you're like, fuck you, I'm not a Sasquatch. But then they start telling the other campers that you're making them feel unsafe and that they shouldn't let you in the Jeep Wrangler anymore. So you get really frustrated and you're like, fuck you, maybe I am a Sasquatch. And you start posting pro-Bigfoot memes online. Not because you believe them, but just you kind of want to get under their skin a little bit. But then you've also been listening to the things that Bigfoot's been saying on podcasts. And it doesn't all make sense, but some of it kind of tracks. Like maybe Smokey the Bear is lying to us about where the origins of forest fires and what's going on in Ukraine. So then all of your friends are starting to become really obnoxious. And all they talk about is Bigfoot. Meanwhile, you've been making small donations to the Sasquatch Party. Nothing huge, but enough that they send you a shirt that says Make America Gigantopithecus again. And then at that point, you're wearing the shirt in a Buc-ee's and one of your friends camping sees it and you're like, I'm never getting back in that fucking Jeep Cherokee again. God damn it.
Yeah. Oh, look, someone had to explain the joke. Bigfoot is a metaphor for MAGA, and this sums up Trump derangement syndrome very well. Dear God, no, it's not just a metaphor for MAGA. It's a metaphor for the left and right divide. Fuck. He had me until he sided with Putin. I don't have any good memes to post in response to this. It just kind of stands on its own. Yeah, it's quite good, actually. This literally sounds like me. Well, you know. It's a good analogy. I grew up, the woke cult is cancer, you're gonna stay lost forever. I need that Gigantopithecus hat. Where did that, there it is. Yeah. Make America Gigantopithecus again, I like that. Probable spam is always fun. He's right, of course. Few people walk from left to right. They get pushed there by people offended you don't 100% agree with them and everything all the time. Sometimes you don't even have to get pushed. Sometimes you just stand still and the Overton window moves around you. Yeah. Who radicalized you? Your fucking ass did. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Didger. I've never seen a better explanation in my life. Yeah, this is a great analogy, parable, metaphor. Yeah. Okay. Over to our newest segment. Actually, I'm going to break this up, so I will stop the recording here. If you would like to support what I do, please head over to Ko-Fi and fling me a few bucks. If you do so on a monthly basis, I'll put your name in the ticker, along with Simon JJ, Sadie Sapientia, and ZenRab7. If you give anonymously or one time, you're part of the Orangutan Gang, which also includes people who like, chat, comment, subscribe or follow, depending on the platform, or share any of those internet-supportive internet things. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again, until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.